what modern education is very competition driven, and how can we remove this competition and take out the fear factor out of it? What are your views on this?
I guess that is a very important question, especially coming from a young person like you, because I can imagine how you struggle with that feeling. I have heard many information about how Indian young people commit suicide because the grades have not improved or because they have failed on the exams. And for me, that is like crazy that happens, especially in every place, but especially in a place like India that we were talking. It's a very spiritual place, and I get that is the effect of this competition driven that you are talking about. And I think the root of that is the way we see the world. We are seeing each other not as a unity, but as different from the other. We don't realize that we are all that Vasudhavi Kutumbakan, that family, complete family, but we are seeing the other person as a different being from me. So I have to be better, I have to get better scores, I have to succeed. And we don't realize that everything that we do, whether we are aware or not, is affecting the entire universe. There is an African view of the world that is called Ubuntu. That means that my existence is inextricably linked to each other's existence, and that anything that I do to the other will affect the others. So there is even a story in which some white person comes to Africa with that view of the world of competition and tell some kids, okay, if you get first that fruit, there are like fruits, I don't remember exactly what was there, but the idea of the story is that he tells the kids, okay, whoever takes that first will be the owner of everything and will have everything for himself. Yeah. So Gaia is the conception of the earth as a living organism. It's like you are the earth. So if you touch your arm and you harm your hand, you will feel the pain, and maybe you are going to, if you have a very, very strong harm, you are going to be sad, you are going to feel bad, and that is going to affect your entire system. That is the conception of Gaia. So I guess if we can convey to the new generations in the schools through education those views of brotherhood, of interconnectedness, of like a systemic view of life, we can contribute to change a little bit that competition factor and fear factor that have harmed education very, very badly nowadays.
Yes, ma'am. So it is really an important factor of education, because many children are studying because of the fear of their parents and other third party factors, but they should do education for themselves, and they miss and they feel that getting low marks and something like that will affect their life, but they don't realize that life is more important than marks, and that's where these children go wrong. And it is a very big factor. Fear is a very big factor when it comes to education, ma'am. So education alone cannot be lead to wisdom. Wisdom is an experience, and how to develop clear-sightedness to attain wisdom?
Well, actually, I think that what you say is true if we take into consideration the current view that we have of education, that in my personal opinion is wrong. The way we understand education cannot lead to wisdom. Completely agree with that. But we have a misconception of what education is really about or should be about. If you go, I love to go to the origin of the words, to the etymology of the words, because they tell you a lot about the real meaning of the word. And if you go to the etymology of the word education, you will realize that there is a Latin word that is educere. And educere means bring something from the inside to the outside. And what does it suggest to us? In my opinion, it shows that the educational system is doing the wrong and just the opposite thing. By education, we have brought a system of fulfilling the individuals of information, of a lot of knowledge, in order to fit in some demands created by society, in order to reach professional success position, which is not a bad thing. It's okay, we can be successful, we can have all those things, it's great, but let's see how we get to have that. So very often we are forgetting the fact that if we see ourselves as spiritual beings having an experience in physical bodies, we have a part of the divine in us, and that divine in us brings the wisdom within. So if we have an approach of education not as fulfilling but as educere, brings from inside, we will be contributing to develop that wisdom that you mentioned. And that's why the true sense of education should be applied in order to bring that wisdom out and to help the human beings to know themselves, as we were talking before. But of course, in a general sense, we could say that given the current status of education, we should prompt the learners, those who are being educated, to engage in activities that are more related to their own passion. Prompt them to serve, to do social service, meaning doing any kind of social service in order to allow them to see the world from a perspective that also allows them to be the change, to see the world from a different point of view and to make themselves questions that lead them to acquire that wisdom. If you just keep the children or the learners in a school closed in four walls and they don't experience the real world, they don't go and see the misery that is around, probably they will think that everything is okay and they won't be questioning themselves. It's like what happened with Gautama, no? The Buddha. The father was keeping him in the palace, and when he had the opportunity to go and see the outer world, he realized how much suffering was happening. He began to ask himself to pursue that path of searching the wisdom. So I guess to the students, we should do the same, and of course make the learning more experiential, meaning that as you said, no, wisdom is a experience. So only when you experience things, you are able to learn and you are able to acquire some kind of wisdom. And I guess art, non-competitive practice of sports, deep scientifically researched, so art, sports, science, is through these three disciplines, let's say art, sports, and science, it is possible that men and women, children and young, can connect with some part within them that makes them wonder about deeper aspects of the existence, which necessarily would lead to a deep understanding and to the pursuit of the wisdom.